Healing is available. Healing is available. Healing is available to you and me. You ready? Okay. Kembo natatan Zambia Mazulu. Awe nusiemi betwabu. My name is Sarah Singer. Welcome to those of you who are new, and welcome back to those of you who are returning. Here on my channel, I talk about plant-based wellness and biblical spirituality. And in this video, we are talking about your superpower, your divine and innate ability to heal, both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Your power is emotional healing. Emotional healing is something that I like to call energy in motion. Simply that, emotions are energy in motion. And I like to consider that when we are feeling an emotion, we are agreeing with the emotion. We are in agreement, or in agreement with that spirit. Very similarly to how the scripture says, we have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. To be given that spirit means innately we possess it. It's who we are. So when we experience lower vibrational frequencies, we are agreeing with that spirit. And so in this video, I'm going to elaborate on what it means to agree with a lower disposition or with a lower frequency energy, and to simply overcome it, and the power that you have within you to overcome and to triumph over your emotions, and to triumph over your past wounds, your hurts, and your undealt with emotions. So if you will, for a moment, consider when you are sitting in a comfortable place with your eyes closed, oftentimes before you fall asleep, typically your mind immediately goes to a place in your body or a point in your body where you feel unbalanced, you're experiencing pain, or simply where there's tension. And this is a microcosm of what goes on all throughout your life, all throughout your day, from day to day. And that is simply where your emotions have been stored in your electric frequency, or your nervous system. Your nervous system is the electrical highway to your physical body. And I find it to be so unique that the Most High made the mind, body, spirit, and soul so interconnected. Not just because they sound good together or because it's foo-foo spiritual talk, but literally because your mind, body, spirit, and soul are connected. Think about it from the perspective of having two different points. And your nervous system, whether it be voluntary or involuntary, conscious or subconscious, your body responds to what you give it. Your body, whether or not you know it, responds to your emotions. Whether you mentally are aware of what you do with your emotions in the moment, your body, hence your body language, encompasses your emotions. And so when you don't deal with certain scenarios or certain experiences, it shows up in your body, whether it be you physically eating and it shows up with you getting rounder in certain spaces or places, or energetic or physical stagnation. Like when you take a step and you bend over to pick up something and you feel a tight muscle in your lower back clench. Essentially, so many of our pains or our feelings or our aches are, in fact, physical emotions. For example, the spirit of anger is associated with heat, with rashes, with tension. The spirit of depression is associated with sensitivity, poor digestion, and exhaustion. The list goes on. So many of our emotions and our feelings are literally connected to our physical forms of pain and other symptoms. But the point of this is to share with you that whether or not you consciously choose to address a situation at hand or an emotion at hand, your body is eternalizing it. And when we recognize and we acknowledge the Most High's word as true, that our body is our temple and we have dominion over our body, we are the caretakers for the temple that we have been given. Ordinarily, we consider superpowers to be in action, but why would the Most High give you a ulterior action if you aren't in physical or mental control of the vessel that you've already been given? And the reason why I say that emotional healing is your superpower is simply because when your mind, your body, and your spirit are in alignment, you have a keen and more sound discernment to hear, to listen, and to be one with the Mwanda Nsemi, to be one with the Most High. It shows a level of accountability, it shows a level of self-awareness, and it shows a level of discipline, not only with yourself, but with others. So your nervous system, like I said previously, is your electrical highway. Think of it as the circuit system. And so you, with the mind, body, spirit connection and the consciousness and the awareness of your body, have the ability to release physically. Tap into the presence of the Mwanda Nsemi and be led to where it is in your body by simply asking, by being aware. Where is it in my body? Where is it in my heart? Where is it in my mind and in my spirit that I need emotional healing? And saying, asking, and being open to being led to where the pain is, where the tension is in your body, and asking the Most High to reveal to you where the root of your pain is. Asking the Father, where is my pain? Where is my bitterness? Whatever the awareness you're given is, wherever that is, allowing yourself to be open to receiving what the Most High is telling you that it is, without being in denial, and simply accepting and simply asking this, allows for a release. Now, scripturally, we see that spirits are attacked by word of mouth. But in the physical sense, as it relates to the nervous system, to physically release spirits, this can happen in many forms by simply retraining your involuntary response, your involuntary nerve response to certain actions. For example, if you're triggered in a given moment to pop off at somebody, with the help of the Mwanda, of course, and with the mental decision to create a different response, you are then training your mental mind and physically training your involuntary self. And what that often looks like is when you've gone through a level of trauma, to recreate an environment that is a place of comfort, that is a place of is nurturing, that is calming, and essentially that is stimulating in a positive form. And this is very common and widely practiced in what is called tapping. And that practice looks like this. Whenever you're in a situation where you are being triggered, where you're being frustrated, where you're in the heat of the moment and you have no release, you have you're feeling that physical rush come over your body, literally praying in the spirit and just beginning to physically release that energy in some way or another. For some people, it's tapping their foot on the floor. Other people, it can just be tapping yourself on the wrist. And what that is releasing that energy so it's going somewhere, so it's coming out of your body. And that's a simple form that can happen, in a meeting under your desk. That can happen, at the cashier when somebody's popping off. That can happen in any frame of triggering. Another thing that you can do that is one of my favorite things to do is to dance. When you are in a situation where you need an emotional release, dancing, or what I like to consider my worship time with the Most High. Sometimes I don't have the words, and simply dancing and expressing myself to an instrumental track of some kind allows me the ability to physically release some level of emotion, whether that be high, low, dynamic. One of the beautiful things about dance and the emotional release that it is, the offering and praise that it is to the Most High, that I find so unique, is the history and how it truly belongs to us. I say that because you can see the implication and the impact of the diaspora, the continent. Anywhere there was a drum, there was dance, or there is dance. And if you notice, here in the US, we were one of the only colonized people who had the drum taken away. And because of that, we lost dance. And we adopted the Baptist church or whatever other church that told us that dancing was a sin. And if you acknowledge and you recognize that anywhere else throughout the diaspora or in the land, that dancing brought the young and the elders alike together, whether it be in any type of social setting, from a funeral to a wedding, anything. And even just in our physical and our emotional and spiritual health, there was a remembrance and a connection to the Most High, as well as physical better disposition. You see women in their 80s and 90s with better physical functioning, simply because they moved their hips, they had function in their shoulders, But so I say all of this to say that when we again are in control, in awareness of our mind, body, and spirit connection, we have a greater connection and a discernment and a keen and tuned ear to the Mwanda Nsemi, to Tata Nzambi. So we proclaim, we desire things that are supernatural when we have not tapped in to the supernaturalness of what the Most High has already given us. So why would the Most High give us something greater if we have no awareness of our temple and of our physical vessel and the rudimentary things that He has placed within us to overcome first? So, tapping, dancing, the last thing, and I kind of hinted on this, which is essentially building an environment of healing, creating forms of stimuli or inspiration that harness and foster your healing, creating an environment that is a safe place to heal. For me, that is creating forms of physical touch that are soothing, whether it be a fuzzy blanket, like I mentioned in a past video, scents, like essential oils, and music, dance. All of these things have the ability to retrain your nervous system to create healthy forms of response. So I hope you can acknowledge the connection between your emotions and your physical temple or your physical awareness, and ultimately recognize how that harnesses your spiritual power. And lastly, to summarize everything that I've pretty much said based upon the principle of it all, I would like to read a scripture. And that scripture is Luke 8, verse 14 and 15. And it says, The seed that fell among thorns stands for those who hear. But as they go on their way, they are choked by life's worries, riches, and pleasures, and they do not mature. Verse 15, but the seeds on good soil stands for those with a noble and good heart, who hear the word, retain it, and by preserving, produce a crop. And so, like I said, this is a principle that, although it's talking about the word, I can apply this same principle to recognize there are many of us who experience emotions, and like verse 14 says, they are choked by life's worries, riches, and pleasures. They're caught up in the scenery, caught up in all of the distractions of that life event, caught up in the continuous rat wheel of emotions that keep you in that low, suppressed, inundated form of low vibrational frequency, and you create a lifestyle around it. And the scripture says they do not mature. But then in verse 15, it alludes that there are those who experience their emotions, they retain it, they sit in it, they acknowledge it, and by preserving themselves and preserving their truth and understanding that this too shall pass, they produce a crop. Once they do the work, acknowledge it, sit in it, retain it, gaining the understanding of the lesson meant to further themselves and use that as a stepping stone for where the Most High has them to go. So again, this is a life principle. The Most High has equipped us with the ability to heal physically, to heal emotionally, and to heal with the guidance of the Mwanda and Simi spiritually. And so I hope this message has been edifying, encouraging, and ultimately inspires you, if you have not already, to embark on a journey of healing and restoration. To be restored, to return, there has to be some level of acknowledgement. In fact, a full, aware level of acknowledgement of where you have been and how it has affected you. We have all been affected in multiple capacities of our enslavement, our mental, emotional, and spiritual enslavement to Babylon. And the time is now, family. So again, I hope this has encouraged you, and I want to emphasize that healing is your superpower. I will be discussing healing in multiple capacities. I will be discussing healing in multiple forms and ways and intricate detail in more videos to come. So be encouraged, Bitswabu. Be encouraged, be encouraged, and be encouraged. Seek Tatanzambi Mpungu Tulindo. Above all else. And Izolele, I love you. I embrace you. And I pray the Most High's hand be upon your life in a way that you can see it and recognize it. And so, Luvumu, Yeyenge, peace and joy, all levels of high frequency vibrations of love and encouragement and all things of the Father. I'll see y'all later. Salakiambote in the next video. Until next time.